Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey friends, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio. And this is that Bible study that 6 out of 22 food cart vendors in Mumbai, India say, well, they kind of like it, but they're not sure yet. They've heard a little bit about this crazy thing called Daily Dose Radio. But anyway, so I really appreciate them trying to participate in this survey and giving us their feedback. We're looking today at verses 7 and 8. 7 and 8 is our passage today. Let me read those for you. In God is my salvation and my glory. The rock of my strength and my refuge is in God. Trust in Him at all times, ye people. Pour out your heart before Him. God is a refuge for us. Selah. All right, boy, isn't that a good one? Woo! 7 and 8, man, that's good stuff. God is my salvation. Now, we need to talk about that, because we've had this saying, my salvation, that phrase, strung throughout this entire psalm up to this point. We had it in verse 1. From Him cometh my salvation. So we know where the salvation comes from. He only is my rock and my salvation. So God is. It's an equation here. He is my rock and my salvation in verse 6. The second one was in verse 2, the third one here in verse 6, and now the fourth one we just read in verse 7, in God is my salvation and my glory. So not only does my salvation come from Him, not only is God my salvation, but my salvation is in God. So there's no other place for me to go than to worship and to celebrate the Lord God, because He is my salvation. It goes right back to verse 5, where He said, my soul, wait thou only upon God. For my expectation is from Him. What expectation? Salvation. That's what He's expecting God to do. He's expecting God to save him. In God is my salvation and my glory. Now, let's talk about that word glory, because we've not seen that connected to salvation yet. And here it is. And my glory. Does that mean that David is getting glory? No. It means that David is glorying in God's salvation. He's glorying in God. Let me put it another way. He is awestruck. He is filled with wonder. He is filled with love and adoration towards this God who would save him, towards this God who would show him mercy and compassion. David hasn't done a thing except call on Him. David can't save himself. There is no glory for David here. None. Not a bit. Not an ounce. But he is glorying in the Lord. That is, he's amazed and in love with and praising the name of God who has saved him. So David says to us, and this is an encouragement for us, don't look to yourself for glory. Look to God to give Him all the glory because of the wonderful things that He has done. And then he goes on to say, He is the rock of my refuge. Now, we've seen that before, right? We've seen actually rock twice, verse 2 and verse 6. And now we have rock again. The rock of my strength and my refuge is in God. This word refuge appears again in verse 8. God is a refuge for us. So now David turns to the worshiping community here through this song and says, not only is He mine, but folks, He's ours. And He's the only one that we have. Trust in Him, he says, at all times. Ye people, pour out your heart before Him. So let me encourage you today. Pour out your heart before Him. I'll just give you the same words that David has here. Pour out your heart before Him. God is a refuge for you. Have you called on Him yet? Call on Him today. See for yourself. This God acts according to His words, and He will hear and answer your prayer. Join me again tomorrow, and we will look at verses 9, 10, 11, and 12 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.